How to fix a loose wall in your shower. Today we're fixing this loose wall back here in our shower surround. This is one of the very inexpensive showers with the vinyl sides that glue down to the pan on the bottom. And the glue around the bottom has come loose and that wall tends to wiggle in and out now. And with it wiggling in and out, it started to take the caulking and crack the caulking. So we've removed the caulking back there, as you can see. And this is the easy, simple way to fix it. Now the right way to fix it would be to tear it all out, but I've got other jobs on my plate right now. So we're gonna kind of temporarily fix this one until we can more permanently fix it. So what you're going to need for this one is a drill, some masking tape, some packing tape, Gorilla Glue, it has to be Gorilla Glue, some sort of a glue injector with a narrow nozzle. This is actually for teeth whitening gel. You can use a syringe, one of the turkey flavor injectors, just something with a skinny tip that you can inject glue through. Some sort of a scraper, a bar clamp or something to spread things apart with, and a piece of wood. So after scraping the area clean of any caulking and trying to get in behind it as best you can to get any of the gunk and debris out, the next step is to mask off the area. Gorilla Glue is some pretty impressive stuff, but it can also be a real pain to work with if you don't do things right. Gorilla Glue expands. It actually foams up and expands into cracks and crevices, which is why we're using it here. But that can also be a problem if it starts squirting out in places and getting on things that you don't want it on. So that's why we've masked off the area. You want to mask off everything around the area that you're working with, above and below, because during the curing and drying process, it could squirt out all over the place and get on the stuff that you don't want glue on. Now you'll notice with the masking, I masked the wall and I masked the pan, but I didn't mask between the two because we need to get in between there to get that glue in place. So once you have this whole area taped off, it might be a good idea to put some stuff down here in case you drip, or just tape off some more area just so you don't get it on the shower pan. Gorilla Glue is really, really hard to get off and you'll be scraping and possibly scratching up your pan. So you want to be real careful with this stuff. The one last thing to prep is the brace to hold everything in place. So what we're going to do eventually is we're going to get in here and squirt Gorilla Glue up behind the surround all along that line. But it will start expanding out. So what we want to do is push everything in place so it will dry in the position that we want it to dry in. So we're going to measure the distance from there to there and cut a little piece of wood. And then from there all the way over to this edge. So we can put a piece of wood there and then put a piece of wood here to brace it up against that wall. If you have things like bar clamps like these, it'll make things a lot easier because you can cut that piece, cut this piece, and then expand that clamp out to kind of pin everything in place. So that's ideal, but if you don't have a bar clamp, you can use something else. You can wedge something in there. You just want to make sure that it doesn't have a chance to move when the glue starts expanding. So here's the brace, just doing a little test fit to make sure everything's gonna line up correctly. So you can see we've got the piece right there that's holding everything into the wall, and we've got the clamp here that we can actually use to expand out things and give positive pressure against it as the glue sets up. We got our Gorilla Glue here, and we have a little bit of good old H2O. Gorilla Glue needs moisture to cure up and expand. So if you haven't been in your shower for a while, you need to get just a little bit of moisture behind there, and you can just use a spritzer bottle like this one, just to give a couple little sprays up inside there. You don't need a lot, just a little bit of moisture to help this stuff expand and do what it needs to do. Okay, so I now have one of these syringes filled up with Gorilla Glue here, and I'm going to be trying to get it behind the surround. Now the reason we had the drill out was if your surround is so close to the shower pan that you can't get the nose of this thing behind it, you're going to have to notch out little tiny holes in here. In my case, we don't have to do that because there is enough of a gap. So we're just going to start shooting some glue in there. Just here and there. And remember, this stuff does expand a lot, so you don't need a lot of glue. You just need to get it along there. Now, if your shower pan is loose enough, or your shower wall is loose enough, you can actually pry the sucker out like this. Get your needle up in there and really shoot some glue up against the wall. So we've got a fair amount of glue back there. I'd like a little bit more, so we're going to put a little more. Alright, so let's put a little bit more back there. You'll see it's kind of already oozing out in a couple places. We got to work kind of quick so we don't make a big mess, or a bigger mess than we're already making. Alright, so now, before we do anything else, just take a paper towel, clean that up. You just want to clean it up enough that you don't have globs of stuff everywhere, because you already masked off, so it doesn't really matter if it's on things or not. Be sure to recap your Gorilla Glue, because if moisture just in the air gets in there, this stuff will start curing up pretty quick. So the next step is getting that brace in place to kind of hold everything down. But before we do that, we're going to take this packing tape here, run a piece of packing tape right across the line here, so when that Gorilla Glue starts expanding, it hits that tape and stops. So with that in place now, it's time to put that bar in place. Okay, so you can see here now we've got that bar in place. It's holding our wall in place as that glue kind of cures up and expands. So now we're just going to let it do its thing. We'll come back and check in a few hours and see how we've done. Alright, so we've given this piece 24 hours to cure up. So we're going to kind of release the brace here. And you can see right here, even just inside the packing tape, we had some of the glue here kind of ooze out, and that is totally normal. That's why we have all the tape to kind of hold everything in place. Alright, now with everything kind of peeled away, you can see here if I push on it or hit it, it's nice and solid behind there. There's no flexing in there, which will help our caulking not start to break loose. And what I'm using here is white silicone 2. I did a lot of looking around online, reading reviews and whatnot. This was the best stuff that I found. I've had a lot of bad luck with different kinds of caulking, and this is the best stuff that I've used in my showers and tubs and whatnot. So let's get to it. It's a good idea when you're using the caulking gun, just have a piece of paper handy so you can just kind of get things started, and also just to clean the tip off between runs of stuff. When you put it in here, if you've never done this before, take a couple practice runs on a piece of cardboard to see how the bead comes out. You want to have a nice consistent bead all the way across, and I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So you want to apply a constant amount of pressure. Once you've run that nice bead, you want to get a cup of water and use your finger to smooth it out. I've seen all the little tools and gizmos. I've tried some of them. I've never had success with them. The best thing I've always used has just been finger and some water. And you want to get in here, get your finger nice and wet, and just smooth it on out with your finger. You don't want to apply a lot of pressure. Your goal here is not to smear it, but to smooth it out. Have that little piece of paper ready in case you get a little bit too much on there. So there you have it. That's all there really is to it. This is a kind of quick, easy, affordable way to fix a shower wall that's loose when the alternative is actually tearing the entire shower out and redoing the whole thing from scratch. If this helped you out at all, be sure to give a big thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, or leave a comment below.